Whoa, like whoa. Hey, hey, hey.
Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Fate, and if this is your first time, or you're just finding your way back to me, it was fate that brought us together. I've been away for just a little bit. I've taken a little small break so I can get together, put back up some content that I want to run with y'all, and we've got some good things coming. But for now, we're going to start with a mono white control swarm style deck I call Icarus. Alright, so this deck itself is made up basically of the mono white engine that you kind of see running around right now, of the Caretaker's Talent and the Enduring Innocence. Now, the cluster of cards that we're going to run behind that is what's going to make it slightly different from what everybody else is running. Or, for the most part, everybody uses the same meta cards, just the way that we synergize. So I'm going to use that same engine just like everybody else would, and the appropriate cards needed in order to set that engine off. It's the other cards that I run with it and my sideboard, because I only play best of three, is what makes mine slightly different. So with that, let's go back to the engine. Caretaker's Talent says when if one or more tokens you control enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once. Then for one, you can make a copy of target token. And then for its ultimate of 4, creature tokens you control get +2/2. Now, then you got the Enduring Innocence, and it says it has lifelink, and whenever one or more other creatures you control with a power 2 or less enters, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. When Enduring Innocence dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, and it's an enchantment. Alright, in order to set the engine off, we're running Carrot Cake, and it's pretty much been tried and true. It hasn't really changed up. This build has been the same build it's been pretty much since Bloomburrow. And they've had a blue-white version, they've had a Boros version. I've had a mono-white version with slight corrections each new set that's come out. And this is kind of what it's morphed to. I have one other build, and I'll show that on a later video, that is just like this, except for he's on something else. But for right now, we'll stay with this mono white version. All right, so the Carrot Cake, it's going to make a creature. It's when Carrot Cake enters, you sacrifice it, or when you sacrifice it, create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token, scribe 1. It's going to set off the Caretaker's Talent or the Enduring Innocence. And just for the sake of speeding the video up, all the cards that I'm about to name is going to do the same thing. So the Archangel of Elsmith makes a 1/1 white soldier creature token. It also gives like a 2/2 and turns a token to a flyer or creature to a flyer, whatever you target with it. And its ultimate is return all non-land permanent cards with a mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, which can come in very important later on if they don't exile things. All right, and the Overlord of Mistmoors, as well as the Virtue of Loyalty. All right, these things that we're showing now is what makes this one different from the other ones, and it's going to be the swarmy control aspect. I've keyed on the swarm. I'm not really depending on like Biza or Overlord to win the game for me. I'm just kind of swarming out at the right moment, and then enough control to hold them off, and then deliver my damage that way. With the Virtue of Loyalty and its 5 cost enchantment ability, at the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each of your creatures you control, untap those creatures. So they grow. Your swarm grows, they get bigger. Now, obviously, we understand that in this meta and format that's going on right now, that there's a lot of enchantment and artifact hate. We know this. So you've kind of got to build with that. And that's the reason that we're really doubling up on this engine right here, is to make sure that we have a lot of draw. Now, if you've been playing standard meta right now, you've also seen decks that have the capability of putting the Jace in there. It's to combat this deck. So you have to be careful about on the amount of cards that you draw. Pay very close attention to that, because I've lost games from decking myself out. Plain and simple. We'll say we're using Lay Down Arms for the Exile. We're using Get Lost to take care of the mirror, as well as any other enchantment. And right now, there's a buttload of enchantment creatures out there. But I'm also using the Soul Partition. Now, I use that on myself as well as my opponent. I'm using it on my opponent. I prefer it to be a token, so they don't really get to bounce it back. But it's very handy in certain situations. But I tend to, send this back to my hand or send this back to my hand so I can reuse them, multiple times. And if they're targeted to be destroyed, you pop them back to your hand. They wasted a kill card, and then you get that card back played again just to trigger off the engine just a little more. So it's multifaceted. You'll find yourself using it a lot with this deck. All right, and then we got the Biza. Now, the Biza, like we've said in multiple other videos, it has a Swiss Army knife. It's got multifaceted tools that you can use to help you against your opponent. So when Biza, the Bounding Spring, enters, create a treasure token if an opponent controls more lands than you. If they got more life than you, gain 4 life. If they have more creatures than you, create 2 1/1 blue fish. If they got more cards than you, draw a card. Pretty self-explanatory, but kind of, once again, very important for the deck. Now, just like I've said with any type of mid-range control style deck, the most important part is the extensive amount of sideboard that can interchange with the deck that makes it more toolboxy. And since we don't actually negate their cards in our control, we control the board state, we have lots of things to help that versus whatever deck that we're playing. And in this meta, this is what I've come up with. Starting at the bottom, I have 2 split ups. Self-explanatory. Destroy all tapped creatures. Destroy all untapped creatures. Elspeth Spite for those pesky little Masquetool decks or any of those small, insanely nasty little creatures that we need to exile. All right, now the Authority of Councils. Now this card is unique. I enjoy playing with it. And a lot of people run it in their main board, but I only see this as a sideboard card with this style of deck. It's good to have to slow your opponent down. It's good to gain life. But if they get up on us and we can't clear the board, and they're getting your swings, especially like with mono red, it's going to just be one of those dead cards if you pull more than one. So I do have 3 running over there. With the engine, I pop them and draw them out. But if I'm really trying to stop aggro or I'm in the mirror match, and that's what I use it the most for, is in the mirror match, being able to tap down their creatures as they come in helps it to where I can get my damage blasted through because they don't have blockers. And that's why I use it with mirror match. I run 3 total Bizas, two in my sideboard, and like I said, Swiss Army knife. But against those other aggro decks, it's very important because it lets you gain back life. There's a Boris Burn deck out there that's very annoying. They do not like seeing the Biza. The Biza sets that back where they spend a lot of cards burning you down, and all of a sudden, boom, you get your life back. You bounce the Soul Partition, bounce it back to your hand, you play it again, and you get 4 more life. And it's just a really good way to deal with that burn that's going on. Rest in peace for all the Reanimator decks. And in this meta right now, there's about 2 or 3 Reanimator decks that are absolutely nonsensical nasty. This card's definitely needed. And in some versions of this deck, I run 4 of the Rest in Pieces. If you don't have that ability, I guess, to run the Rest in Peace, a good alternative would be, in my opinion, the Ghost Vacuum. Something to think about right now, just in this meta. It's good to have. And the Exercise. Exile target artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater. Now, I had something else in its place, but I'm not even going to put it out there to tell you what it is to make you go that direction and look at that. It wasn't as efficient as I needed it to be. And with this meta, the way that it is right now, this is a better fit. I don't like the fact that it's sorcery. I prefer it to be an instant, but right now this is okay. So this is pretty much the deck in its gist. The one thing that I found with mono white right now is that there's one of 2 ways to run it. You can either run it like really heavy aggro and just get at your opponent, clear everything out your way, and give that damage to their face. But there's so many control mid-range style decks out there right now that it's best, in my opinion, to run a median of the two, of the like swarm aggro kind of base and control kind of base. It sits in the middle, but it's not really mid-rangey. If you move things around a little bit, like if you move the Overlord of Mistmores to 4, and you move the Virtue of Loyalty to 2, it kind of looks mid-rangey. But it's more swarm and more heavier control. That's like saying that's the difference in the decks. That's the different bases. Now there's also land. A lot of people run different kinds of land. Obviously, I put the Fountain Port in there so I can have an extra token being made as well as draw off the tokens that I make, just in case my engines are destroyed or I just need that extra card. But I find myself using a lot just creating a treasure token. That sometimes becomes very important, just getting that, being able to play the extra card. So you can play a 4 and a 2 cost card. I'm also running 2 demolition fields, and I've been inside of 3 and 4 demolition fields just because it's mono white, but I've kind of put it back down to 2 just to make sure the lay down arms gets off the way that it's supposed to. So with that, I guess that's kind of the synopsis, the breakdown of the deck. If you're looking for a very competitive tier 1, tier 2 deck, in some people's mindsets right now, it's a tier 1 deck. Some people's mindset, it's a tier 2. Go do your own research. That's the best thing that I could actually tell you. But from the research that I have, the amount of games that I have on the deck and its win rate, because right now we're sitting at a 62% win rate in over 25 games just in Mythic, because I reset my stats when I got into Mythic, and then I'm running all my decks through a gauntlet, basically, of 50 games, and then the 2 best decks that I have within those 50 games is what I'm going to be playing the Star City with in Atlanta. So I'm kind of doing that, and that's the reason for the break. And to everybody that's been waiting for me to put a video out, I hope that this is something that can help you out. You've probably already seen somebody else's version of this deck in some way, form, or fashion, and maybe mine will be able to compete with theirs on, especially in a competitive atmosphere. I know we could beat them in the mirror. So I give you my mono white control deck. It's a deck, like I said, I've been playing for pretty much the last couple of sets, and it's just kind of polymorphed itself to where it is right now. I don't really see many things out there that you could change up in this deck, and I've seen them try to squeeze lots of things into this deck. This is the best way to build this deck, and it's just an opinion. Totally agree. It's just an opinion, but I really feel like that my opinion at this point is very valid, considering I consistently win with this deck. I never drop under a 60% win rate with this deck, and I've been doing it with this deck and this style of deck since about Bloomburrow, and it's just got better with Duskmourn. I was really hoping that Foundations would put something in that would just, set it off, but guess what? It's still the best breakdown for this deck. So, without further ado, I guess we can get on to the games, and you can watch me make my opponents take this damage. All right, here we go. I usually don't voice over my gameplay, so I'm just going to do it live and give it to you live. I'm going first. I got 2 lands. I usually don't. If you've watched any of my videos, I don't start 2 land hands, ever. But in this case, with the amount of draw that I have with this deck, I have no problem activating a 2-land hand, and I don't much care if we get over 5 or 6 lands. Honestly, I ended up stacking a pretty good amount of lands with the amount of draw that I have. It's more or less just getting it going. With the amount of scry this deck has too, it kind of just works out. Look at that. Like I said, it just kind of works out. It's the way it is. We'll wait a couple seconds. We'll untax that deep cavern bat, because that's a bat tax. He may pay the bat tax, and he's got 2 of them. Oh my goodness. I guess it wouldn't have much mattered anyways, would it? Here we go. So, we're basically going to try to trigger off the engine as many times as possible. And we don't really care if it dies, because it's going to go over there as an enchantment. We'd prefer that to being exiled off the field and not being able to make my engine work properly. But it is what it is. I cannot believe that he just swung into me. But okay. That was smart, dude. Good job. He did a lot to trigger off that card, didn't he? So here's what we're gonna do. We are gonna play the Caretaker's Talent. We're gonna play Plains. We're gonna play Lay Down Arms. Go ahead and just get rid of it. Swing in for 2. The one thing that I found about this mono white deck is it consistently delivers gas. I mean, you could call this Son of Gun Exxon if you wanted to, for real. But it consistently pushes out gas that's really hard for some people to overcome. They spend a lot of time trying to overcome the gas, and what they end up doing is they basically spend up their cards. It almost makes them want to run this engine in their decks, but you gotta have to tailor to it. So decks like what they're running, which is heavy life gain, don't really get to feel the effects deeply like it does when you run the complete engine from this mono white. But here we go. A lot of people in this deck too also like to only run like one of the Overlord of Mistborn, which I do not understand. I understand that the engine allows you to draw, but having the ability to put multiples on the field gives them something immediate to have to handle. Now see, now he's staring down this barrel. When I hit this ultimate on his Caretaker's Talent, those little 2/1s are going to turn into 4/3s. He's a 23 life. Now he might take all this damage, but he ain't gonna be happy. Looks like we got a runner here. We got a runner here? Hold on. Do we got a runner? Is that what we got? Yeah, that's what you get. You got the laughing hyenas. Because here we sit in the middle of a game when you got 23 life and a handful of cards, and you can't play. Well, I mean, I guess maybe they got up, went to the bathroom, or they lost service on their phone. But I'm pretty sure he's staring down this barrel, don't have no answers for it, and goes, I don't want to take this damage to my face. So I'm gonna sit here, pout like a child, while the little blue ribbon scrolls itself down. And after it scrolls deep enough, I'm just gonna hang up my phone. He's on PC. He's raging behind his keyboard. He's about to go AFK. He don't really know what to do. All he knows is that he's about to take some damage to his face, like deep in his face, to his face. Yeah, for those that are watching my games and stuff, I do kind of get into it. It's not an act. This is really who I am. 100%. I clown on these fools, man. And then when I lose, man, I lose with pride. I have my head held high. I take all the crap talking they talk to me and everything. And I don't say nothing. I just take the damage. Yep. But that, to me, that's part of it. It's part of it, And the people that don't feel that way, they're not in this game to be a winner. They're in this game to be casual and have a good time. And being belittled, I guess, is not having a good time. But if you've played any ball whatsoever, half of the reason we do this is for the bragging rights. Especially like football, baseball, wrestling. You did any MMA fighting. All these things that I'm naming is stuff I've actually done. So, hey, I was the same way there too. Like 100%. But that's just who I am. Yeah, that's right. So you see the win rate on the deck, the 66% win rate. All right, here we go. I guess we'll be on the play. Well, I have bricked a few games, and I don't want to brick again. I don't know if I should start this hand or not. Mulligan. Well, we ain't got no choice now, do we? Oh, man. That is bum right there. Sometimes it happens, though. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes this game likes to play little games with you. One time, this is no joke, I mulliganed 3 times in a row. The first hand had 1 land. The second hand had no lands. Third hand had 1 land. So I'm looking at it and going, do I really want to mulligan one more time? Or should I just keep this 1-lander? Well, I did. I mulliganed, and it was no lands. 0. And there I sit with no lands. I'm thinking I got to mulligan one more time. And I know as hard as it's to believe, I ended up taking that mulligan. And I still lost the game. So I hope I kept you on suspense. Still lost the game. But not only did I lose the game, I also bricked. 100% bricked. I was like, wow, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. And sit there. Well, just those 2 lands. 2 lands. That was it. Never got another land. Never. So that means, like, on the 7 pool, the 6 pool, the 5 pool, the 4 pool, I still, I got a total, like, through the whole game, 5 lands. Total. What do you do with that? I don't know. I don't know what you do with it. Sometimes the game's kooky like that. I've played a lot of paper TCG, and I've seen some crazy things happen. But the amount of times that it happens, like when you play on Arena, is kind of crazy. It's almost like if they want you to lose, you're going to lose. Kind of feel that way about it. So we're playing mono red. Yay. I mean, absolutely love it. That's what I want every time. Oh, yeah. Get out of here. Exile. Yeah, I guess we're going to exile this one too. But I do know if we brick again, that'll be 3 games straight. 3 games straight. I know my coffee is getting cold. And it's about time to fill back up. This is absolutely crazy. This is crazy. I mean, I'm getting outlanded by a mono red. Well, it's a Gruul deck, but it's pretty much mono red. This is crazy. And I'm just stuck. Mulliganed. I knew the deck was going to be kooky. I just didn't know that it was going to get this kooky. Oh, goodness gracious. Yay. I'm pretty sure they got a Snakeskin Veil at this point. Maybe not. That's how you neutralize some of that damage. He was going for the kill. He seen my throat. He said, "Lethal's coming." Oh. And then it pulls out that Screaming Nemesis. Ain't this crazy? I don't know if we'll pull out of this, but we did brick for like 3 turns, no land. Yay, bricking for 3 lands. Did they go for the Elspeth? It kind of tells you what they're doing. I mean, or what's going to happen. Did they go for it? No, they didn't. So that means he's got a pump. I just don't know if he'll use it or not. Nope, he didn't. Interesting. Let's try this. Ooh, that's crazy. This might get nasty. That ain't gonna hurt us. All right, so we're gonna try to play a little. Oh man, I could up those. Yeah, that's true. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to con him into doing that. I guess that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna con him into doing that. Ah, he doesn't have it. All right, so let's do this. See if he's got snakeskin till now. So he prevented me from gaining life. That's what he did. So he shot it. He prevents me from gaining life. And he thinks that he's going to burn me down from this point. It's smart. Smart strategy. Now let's see if we can stabilize. Let's see what we got over here. Return all non-land permanent cards with a mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Let's try it. Let's try it. Nothing there. I just wanted to see what would happen. We have another one right here. Not being able to gain life, that doesn't help though. Especially with him having that Screaming Nemesis. That should be game on this game. Yep, there you go. Game 1 though. Game 1. Alright, so we know now this to me is like the most important parts. So this one doesn't help us as much. So we're going to eliminate that off jump. Alright, this is where this comes in. Alright. And sometimes we don't get all the way to our Sunfalls. And the Virtue of Loyalty doesn't always help out there either. So we'll go to the Elspeth Spites. Cut this down to 1. Cut this down to 2. Add in the Beezus. So we can gain life back. Because we're on the initiative, I think that should be okay. When we come off the initiative, we might add the split ups back in. Or add them in. You know, just in case. Because we really don't want to have to continue to deal with that Screaming Nemesis over and over and over again. That gives us the ability to hold some cards back for it. Alright, here we go. That's good, though. This is good also. Some decks, man, you just have to tech for them too. And this is one of those decks that you have the ability to tech. So use it. Okay. All right, we're going to wait just a second for the laydown. We're going to try to save that for the Screaming Nemesis. we're going to use that on that. Because that will become annoying later. We're going to play this because we don't really care if they kill it. And if we have to block with it, which is fine, we can gain 2 life. And every single bit of life counts when you're playing mono red. So he burned it down himself. That's wonderful. Now, I'll tell you something else that he did by doing that, right? He's got 2 creatures on the field. And he put me at 14. Now, I'm going to put myself back to 18. And I'm going to add some feces. And I'm going to draw a card. That's really good. And that's the reason that we have the Bizas, 2 of them in the sideboard. It's just for these decks. See? Automatic. That's an automatic quit. Now we have to go, well, what do we need to do next? We don't need to be vulnerable. That's what we don't need to do. So... I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut down 1 carrot cake. We're going to cut down 1 caretaker's talent. All right. And then we're going to... Then we're going to add 2 of the soul partitions back. Just because we want something from the instant side of it. Maybe 3. And we'll cut down the lay down arms 1. All right, and we're going to try that. See how this works. So now that we're back on the initiative, we have to look at, instead of turn 1, 3, and 5, we got to look at turn 2, 4, and 6. And they want to do their power or curve out, between like 3 and 4. That's what they want. So with this right here, that prevents that from happening. So we slowed it down a little bit, and we're just going to play heavy field control. And then we're going to bang on the head. Make them take this damage to the face. Oh, goodness gracious. Whatever will I do? We'll just go ahead and get rid of that. I don't really like the paralysis creatures sticking around because they can get really nasty after a second. Like, especially if they start pumping them real big and then you don't have the ability to stop it. All right. Kind of want to stay away from that. Now, this is where we get to play with them just a little bit. As long as we can get 1 more land between the next 2 turns, that's going to be the most important thing. See, he's going to try to set up to try to... just kind of throw his weight at us. We're not even going to entertain that. We're going to make him make a decision. And he didn't want to make his decision. He's waiting for me to make a decision. All right. We'll do a carrot cake. We will do a carrot cake. Just to... I'll keep that land. I'm not hurting, but I really do want to be able to hit that Sunfall, especially if he puts both of them sun guns out there. And then tries to hulu punch them sun guns out there. Now, we got a little bit of life gain with carrot cake. That helps out a little bit. Because it's going to gain us 3 life. And then we'll just take out the biggest one that he shoots at us is what we'll do. He just pulled another one. How lucky can one person be? This is crazy. All right, if he's got a pump, we're going to go ahead and make him spin it. Now he ain't got one. Great. All right. Let's see here. And what I'm basically doing is playing off play. Everything on his turn. by doing that, holding back something to make sure he can't just overwhelm us and shoot us. Then putting things out there that's going to gain life just in case we're going to take a big blow. That's a given. We just got to get rid of the biggest one. And then once we get them baited out there, we can, oh wow. See what he's trying to do? He's trying to load up his hand with a whole bunch of protection, removal, anti-removal spells. It's not going to help, dude. It's not going to help, dude. You don't let me gain too much life. He's don't let me gain too much life. It's getting a little out of reach there, bub. He's searching, though. That's the key, man. He's going to keep searching. He's looking, basically, for a protection of some sort. I don't know exactly what protection he's looking for. Probably Snakeskin Veil, something like that. And then the overwhelming ability to shoot in and be just overpowered, kill in one shot type deal. And he played a Screaming Nemesis. Okay. Seriously? Seriously. Okay. All right. Now, I know that a lot of y'all are going to think this is crazy, but watch this. So I'm going to kill my own creature. And then I'm going to Fountain Port just to get an extra draw in. All right. Now, I'm going to attack. And then I'm going to Sunfall. And that's probably going to make him real mad. He's probably going to shoot the Screaming Nemesis. But in the process of shooting the Screaming Nemesis, all he's done, because I'm at 16 life, is put himself in a hole that he's got to climb out of. Now he's got to, bear a whole bunch of creatures to the field. And I'm not going to put up with that because we're going to do it again. I'm going to hold that little 3/3er there. Oh, yeah. Got another one. That's probably going to be the handshake card. Oh, it wasn't the handshake card. No, it wasn't. It wasn't the handshake card. What to do, Mike? What to do? I don't know what he's going to do, but he's about to take this 3 damage to his face. And we got that Elspeth Spite sitting there. So, as you can see, unless some miracle of something happens, this is how you take this mono white deck and put it in a versatile setting, right? And equal the game back out. You balance it back out. You gain back the initiative. You put them on their heels. He's on his heels right now. He doesn't really have an answer for anything that I'm doing. And since he doesn't have an answer to anything that I'm doing, I'm able to do whatever I want to. That's the key. Let's do this. If it's a land, not a big deal. It just clears it out the way. If it's a creature or... Okay. So now we're going to do this. Just so we get a draw. All right. Now, question is he blocked? Or does he just take the damage? Oh, he's going to block. I'm going to deliver the... Maybe, you know what? I'm going to hold on to that just in case he might have another slick shot. That'd be all 4 of them. But he might have it. He had a lightning strike. Well, that makes me want to get rid of the slick shot. You don't get to have both my cards, man. Not at all. And since he done that, we will hopefully juice that up to 2. Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. What you gonna do? I'm gonna block. No matter what you do, I'm still gonna block. Oh, goodness gracious. I don't care if you use that pump now or later. It's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter. How much damage can you get through? Oh, he paw patch formation me. Wow. I know why he did that, though. You know why he did that? Because I was going to send the one that's on the field, the one that was on the field, back to my hand. That's why. And he knew that, as well as I knew that. Smart play. Oh, that's going to hurt his heart. That right there, that crushed his dreams, aspirations. Watch this. Nope, not at all. Now, if he didn't do the Screaming Nemesis, we would have been gaming life right there. But he did the Screaming Nemesis, so we don't get that. And we do want to draw. As you can see, this is what I like to do with my fountain ports. Once the engine's there, we just start drawing. And now we're just looking for removal. Yep. Or he can continue to send me lands, which is also something that happens regularly, seems like. I can live with that. Yep, I can live with that. All right, friend. Here we are. I'm going to send that back to your hand after you spend all your stuff on it. Yes, I am. We have the visa. Don't think that I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to get him to make hard decisions before I put it out there. And, you know, it changes the tempo and the pace of the game. So, here we are. And I know this is kind of taking my little life away. I have to pay a life to make this happen, but... Good, that's what we needed. That's what we needed. Yep. He's dragging the game now, which is okay. It's not a big deal. He brings that in tapped. I send that back at the end of the turn, and then I finish it off with all the damage. We'll do this. Set that off. Get another card. Well, you ain't gonna like this at all. Not at all. That's it. That's the handshake. Well, there you go, friends. 63% win rate. 63% win rate. In Mythic. All the games on it is Mythic. And we've got over 25 games just a Mythic play. It's got about 115 games over this season and last season. They send you back to platinum. So, you got about that fair amount of games to look at. So if you're looking for a deck, it's going to take you to Mythic. It's going to be consistent. It's going to be able to win on the play. It's going to be able to win on the ladder. It's going to be able to win on the draw. It's going to be able to win on paper. It's going to be able to win anywhere you want to take it. This is one of those decks. For right now, the way the meta sits, this is one of those decks. Because this deck will help you make them take this damage.